here we are, live. Thanks for joining me. Give people a minute to hop on and join us today. Let me know where you're tuning in from, if you would like to share. All right. So, as some of you guys know, I started this painting on what day? Was it Friday? It was Friday last week. Because the day I do live stream will depend a little bit on my schedule and what things are going on. But I do one every week. And so I did start this on Friday during my live stream. And so as you can see, I got a lot done. I think when I ended my live stream last time, I was like, I might be painting on this over the weekend. I definitely did. I painted on it a lot over the last few days. And I absolutely love it. It's exactly what I envisioned. And I used a photo for reference, but I definitely took a little bit of artistic license to add a little bit more water to the stream. But this is pretty much what it's going to look like. I'm pretty happy with it. It's still kind of sitting around in my house for me to just kind of like look at and decide if I need to do anything more to it. But this is pretty much what I envisioned. I added some brighter tones in the distance. I added some as if some light was kind of skipping across the stones here, stuff like that. So it definitely was very, very, very fun to do. And again, I did the underpainting of orange underneath and then worked up those layers, worked up the contrast, all of those things. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for watching. And I'm just showing off what I did last live stream / over the weekend. And it started out like this as a thumbnail. Simple thumbnail, black and white, to figure out, this is the actual one here, figure out like where darker values go, where the eye should go, the composition of the whole piece. I started with another image that kind of looked like this, but I was liking this one a lot better. So I went with that and took some artistic license to switch up the composition a little bit. So what I'm going to do today is actually, because I'm on a roll with this sort of, what'd you call it? Mountainy, foresty scenes. I really like the stream, but, I want to be looking at like realistic reference photos and really compiling what I think is going to be a good composition and interesting, and knowing myself and my own art and what I like about painting. I really enjoy incorporating really dramatic lighting into a piece. And this was one of those things. Some contrast, some light in the distance, the S-shape composition pulling you back into the space was really, really, really fun. So my plan is to do something similar, but we've got a very different size, and all of this is spur of the moment, because do I plan this out? No, not really. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not really. So I found this canvas in my garage. It's got like a pencil mark down the middle. Okay. But then I also found this one, same size, Okay. Great. So 2 canvases. Awesome. Well, no, there's more. I found a third one in the exact same size. It's like as if they go together. So we're going to use these 3 to make a triptych, a 3-piece painting of a foresty scene that I was able to grab a picture of. So let me pull up that picture for myself. It's kind of like got a lot of this happening, this sort of backlight that's really warm and welcoming. Like there's a sunset happening, but there's a path kind of coming through. And I think if I can put that across 3 canvases, we'll be good. So I might quickly, before I even, and I'm going to have to cover these with orange because I like doing that and I want to do that again. That's why I like this, how this painting turned out so warm in the foreground, is because I left a lot of that showing through. So I'm going to just quickly map out. And I found personally for myself that if I do thumbnails, my painting ends up way better than if I don't. Even though I don't like doing thumbnails. No one likes doing thumbnails. They take up too much energy and time. You have to think about it. It's like, I don't want to think about anything. But you end up more successful if you do that. So I've got my 3 canvases there. And I just want to get a feel for kind of the placement. Of some of this, and I'll show you in a second. Working on the foreground just a little bit. Thumbnails don't have to be fancy. They can be very simple. They can be to the point. When I do thumbnails, I'm trying to think about the values and like rules of thirds and where are things placed and all that. So when I'm doing, I'm just using a Sharpie. And what really makes, some of these things pop is that I have so much dark happening at the same time. And so it's important to have that in the piece. This back in here is kind of... So you can see I've blocked out like where some darks are going to be going. So the foreground here, there's sort of this hill. There's this like hiking path going through here. There's some trees off in the distance here. I'm going to put in just a rough placement of some of these larger trees. Sure, yeah, great. The hard thing about a triptych or a 3-piece painting is that each painting, for it to be successful, each painting should be able to stand alone as a really good painting on its own, which is always the hardest part because it's like, well, they look good together, but they're like awful separated. It's like you kind of want to, at least that's what I was told, you want them to look good on their own. Okay, so here's a tree. And these are dark trees back in here. there's just some dark contrast on this one side, and it's mostly because it's right up against where the light is. Oh, this is a big tree here. So it's not quite that big, but you know, you get the idea. Probably looks like nothing, but that's kind of the composition. The light is streaming through this section over here, and it hits some of these trees over here, and then you've got blue sky up above here. Oh, the other interesting thing is that you get all this dark leafy stuff up above with the blue sky, you know, peeking through. Doesn't look great, but see if I can create a little bit more contrast here. You know, something like this. What'd you think? You like it? Okay, so with that said, we are going to start covering our canvases with orange quickly. And then those will dry. Now, if I remember correctly, if you remember from last time, I believe I used this vermilion color, which is a little bit of an orangey red. First, I put a little bit of, it's more of a coral color. So then I put white in it to just lighten it a little bit. I think I ended up adding a little yellow. I'm going to do the same thing now. And honestly, a little yellow is not going to hurt this composition anyway, so it doesn't have to be exact. It just has to be similar. And I'm realizing this is what happened last time. I didn't make enough of this color. So I'm going to make more. Because I don't want to have to mix it again. But, you know, I often do because I skimp on paint quite a lot because I don't want to waste it. It's my curse for some reason. It's good, I guess, right? You want to use your resources well. Okay, so, and I've got my big handy dandy brush. And we're going to say goodbye to this guy. You can see him on my Instagram. You can follow me at Fragile Glory Impressions on Instagram to see this more up close. But it was a fun one for sure. So we're going to get this out of here. And we're going to go to these. And I'm just, you know, focusing on the front. I don't want to worry about sides right now or edges because they're going to just slow me down. And I want to get to some of the painting with you guys tonight before we call it a session. So I'm going to fill my brush real good with that color. You can see what the color looks like. It's a little bit cooler on the camera, but it's a little warmer in person. And I'm just going to cover, and this is one reason why I like these lights that I'm working under, is they dry my paint a lot quicker, which sometimes is really irritating, and sometimes it's perfect. Like for this, it'll be perfect because we want to jump right into painting. And I live in Colorado, and so everything dries instantly because we're so dry here, but not really. Pretty much, though. Okay, there's canvas number 1. I'm not sure what the dimensions are on these guys here, but like that doesn't look quite like a foot, does it? It's a little smaller. I don't think I have my ruler here. It looks a little smaller than a foot, so we'll see. I guess I'll stick that over here. Okay, then we got number 2. I think, some of you might be wondering, why am I using orange as my underpainting? And I've said before that, like, sometimes to let it peek through, you want to use an opposite color to a lot of the colors in the painting that you're going to, or in the image you're going to reproduce. So if there's lots of darks and lots of blues and purples and greens, putting down a warmer color can really, sorry, that's really, really loud. My mic's right there. Putting down a warmer color can really enhance that. And I learned the technique of just covering your base with one of those colors when I took a pastel class, actually. What's his name? Terry Ludwig. I think that's his name. It's actually a pastel brand. And it's the factory or the place that they make them is local here in Colorado. And I took a workshop from them years ago with a friend, and we did outdoor plein air pastel painting. And every painting we did outdoors that summer, we started out like this, pretty much with this color too, using pastel. This is soft chalk pastel on like our sanded paper, and then you add alcohol, so rubbing alcohol to it to actually turn it to break down the binders or something, and it just is the pigment on the canvas, and it turned it to a paint, basically, the chalk pastel. And so that's kind of where I learned. I just loved when I was out there painting the orange base, and then you'd put like the blue sky on top of it with the pastel. It was just like, it just popped so much. And I was like, I love that. And I'm like, I could totally do that in really any medium that will layer. You can't really do that in watercolor. And so I've kind of used this technique ever since, just using paint. So that's kind of where that came from. And guess what? I'm going to have to make more paint. I always do this. It gets so close to the end, and it's like, no. Like I could make it maybe stretch, but it would, well, let's see. I don't know, guys. It's not gonna go. It's gonna be really faded if I force it. So let me just put a little bit here. Sorry, pardon all the noises. Okay, this better be enough. Oh, it's a little light. Got the ratios wrong. Oops. And then once this is down, our first step, which let's think, what did I do for my first step with the last one? I think oh yeah, the far distant trees. So then with this one, it's a little different with how we'd probably approach it, but let me think about that. Thanks for joining. If you're tuning in for the first time, I'm starting a new set of 3 paintings. There'll be one painting across the 3. You can go check out what I just showed you by painting that I finished last week on my Instagram. Fragile Glory Impressions on Instagram. You get to see the whole painting of the one I did last week. I worked a lot on it over the weekend and ended up with the finished product that you can see on Instagram. Okay. So there's my 3 orange canvases. And now I'm just thinking about what is my first step, because this is my composition here. Doesn't look like much, but there's my composition. And there's really bright sky or light coming through the trees in the background. Honestly, well, I think I want to start with the foreground, and I'm just going to block in darks. I'm not worrying about detail yet. Blocking in darks. And then I'll do trunks of some of those darker trees. Yeah. And then from there, fill in, because it's kind of a reverse way of painting. You're not working with sky or anything yet, because you want to be able to show some of the orange underpainting coming through. So you have to leave edges raw. And so I'm going to do it that way. So we're going to get out some handy dandy purple. Get the purple down on the canvas. Or palette. And then maybe we want to go for pretty dark for some of these things. So we're going to go for this dark cadmium red deep hue. It's quite the name. And then I think we want this warm yellow. Oh, it's right here. Warm yellow. And then that blue-green often is my go-to for things like this. Blue-green on the canvas. Palette. And then what I did with the last painting is I just used this brush. This one size brush to do it. I'm going to do the same thing. I don't know if it's a lazy habit of mine, but it's something I've done for a long time. It's just to use one size brush for everything. So let's give this a try. So I'm going to mix up some really dark I'm mixing basically all my primaries together with some of this dark purple. To just get kind of a dark color. It doesn't have to be black. I don't need to use black. You can create all the contrast you need by just using dark colors next to light colors. It's about how you place things, about color interaction. So obviously I can't quite, well, can I fit all 3? I probably could actually. Let's try. I'm afraid they're going to like fall on me, and then I'm going to end up with orange paint all over me. And I think I'm going to, I don't know, do I paint them like close? I think I'm going to paint them close together, but then you can basically hang them like 2 inches apart and it won't mess up the composition too much. As long as I don't like separate a tree all weird. Hold on. I can't do this all at once. Let's scoot this over this way. Oh, come on. Come on. Really? So close. Well, okay. Got wounded in the process. We'll see if they'll stay up. You're probably gonna see them fall and be like, wow, what am I watching? Okay. So I'm gonna take this dark color that I have here. I tend to be a cleanly artist, so like having paint on me is really irritating. But it looks cool, right? Okay. So I'm gonna come in here with my dark color. And I'm gonna kind of map out where the edge of this sort of foreground thing is. This is why it's helpful to have a thumbnail, because it's like I'm looking at one picture like this, but I have to divide it into 3 pieces visually, and I already did that work for myself when I did this, so I'm just gonna look at this. And I can still look at that one for reference to make sure I'm following what I want to follow. Then this will come right in here. And I want the feeling of hiking in the woods. Like that's what I want you to feel in this picture, I think. Let's slow down. So like that, you're walking along this trail here, and this is the mountain that you're on, and then you're gonna see all these trees coming up. Let's mark some of these big trees. I think that's what I need to do next. So there's a big tree. I feel like the placement of this is going to be really hard. We're going to go a little bit farther this way. It's going to go up this direction. Whoa. Okay, I'm just marking some things. That's one. The other bigger one, this is the closest to us, it looks like. And then we've got this one. In my composition, I've put here because the path is here. There's a little bit greenery. Yeah, so it's like right here. And that's going to go up. And these don't go up perfectly straight. They've got some angle to them. There's also a very interesting tree that goes. So these will be thicker, but this goes this way. Got a leaning tree. I'll see if I like that later, but we'll stick it in there for now. And then we've got some very interesting trees back in here that end at the line. This one's going this way. That. Oh, this little one's kind of in front. Sure. These are the ones that are the darkest, and so I don't really want to go too far into the distance, because then I'm going to end up with trees that aren't going to be this dark. Things are darker when they're closer to you. I'll maybe do this tree too. So this is a little cliffy thing. And then this one's going to go kind of up and this way a little bit of curvature on it. I'll maybe do this other one too. Did I put that on here? I might have to put it here, which actually probably works better. works much better. I'm going to put it right there. Okay, good. I've got some good information. Now I can wet down my brush a little bit here. Okay, yep. And then we're going to darken. Like I'm going to place this down where it's definitely just like dark. Right in there. And that I should maybe draw the edge of the path here just so I know where that's going to go. And you can get a better idea of what the heck I'm painting. This is like the distance. This comes down into here. This rock thing is here, just so you know for future. And this comes and kind of comes around this way. And I'm taking artistic license and I'm going to go this way with it, even though it kind of just comes at us this way. Because I'm working with a triptych, I have to let things kind of go along the path, or, go towards the other paintings a little bit more. Yeah, there you go. Some other rocks and things in there. Okay, back to what I was doing. I just want to block in some of these major darks first. And some of this will come into like leaves and stuff on trees. So back to here. And I'm it's a painterly style. I'm leaving the canvas showing through because that's the whole idea. Making sure I can see the whole picture. Okay. Here I can kind of show the thickness of this tree by just doing that. This is all just like dark. There's some light in there because it's going to be sort of textured, but I'm mostly worried about darks. Like a hint of light in here. I just want to fill whatever is dark in, but doesn't have to be filled in completely. It just needs to have some darks down. Because when I do put like lighter stuff in there, it can cover some of the orange also. Yeah, okay. There's that tree. And the joy of acrylic is that you can cover over anything you want to cover later. So, me putting stuff down like this, a lot of it's going to be covered up. And even if I'm putting this down, like I can cover it up. I could put this orange color back on top of that with a few layers and it would be fine. So there's a lot of flexibility with acrylic. There's a nice big rock thing here that can kind of go into both paintings, and it's kind of just like dark. This sort of blend into the path a little bit. Oh my. Okay. And then I ruined the balance. Darn it. It was doing so well. Stay. Probably because there was like paint sticking it to the thing. Anyway, we will continue. I want to make this tree bigger. So like I said, my paint dries really fast under these lights. It's kind of frustrating at times, like right now. Okay, so that's the tree. Really the biggest tree. Is it big enough? I don't know if it is, actually. Let's go bigger. Oh, and actually there's a like kind of a big branch thing or tree here that's going to help because we want to put some nice darks in the sky up here. This little corner is kind of dark, and then there's some darks coming over this way. And some darks down in here. This is where it's really going to look tree, foresty. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Then we're going to put the sky peeking through all of those little spots. It's my favorite part. Okay, so if that's going that way, there's a bunch of like sticks and stuff in here, but I'll maybe ignore those for now. We're just going to go in and do some of this. Just blocking in some of the darks. Need a little bit of water. We're going to go a little bit smoother. Maybe a little thicker. That one back there is a little lighter, but a lot of this stuff in here is pretty dark. We're getting close though. Like this is where the light is just like popping. But there's still a lot of dark like right up next to it. And so I'm going to put this in here, just hoping that I'm not like going too crazy, but I'm just like smudging the brush around, not worrying too much about Okay. I don't know. Hopefully you can see it a little bit better. If you're working on anything, let me know in the comments. If you're painting along with me, if you're, doing your own project, I like to know what people are working on. Because my intent is, yes, you can watch me and be entertained if you want, but is hopefully inspires you in your own journey of art creating, I should say. Because you might not be an artist, and that's okay. You could create in different ways. This is my favorite way to create. Let's see, that's that tree. It's hard to know where I've been here, what I'm looking at. These two ones come up here and combine into nice, big, thick, dark. Yeah, it's gonna be so fun to come in and just put in the sky. In case I haven't said that already. And I can always go in and put some more sky spaces between if I'm I covered too much with the dark. Not a problem. Just fix it later. I'm just, again, blocking in where my darks are. I'm basically creating my thumbnail larger with the darks. Sorry, I can't paint and talk at the same time. Thanks for joining me. 4 people watching. Thank you. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. Just kind of almost connect in here a little bit. Yeah, this gets really dark, but then it kind of comes down this direction. Technically, there's another tree here. Okay, so I'm spacing. This is where a problem comes into play a little bit. I spaced things out a little too much. I stretched it a little bit. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me, but should be fine. Just creating a little bit of light. Okay, this is really dark up in here, and there's definitely more trees in the distance, but they're not as dark, and so I don't really want to do it in this color. I don't think. I can always do it later, so I'm going to do it later. And technically these ones aren't as dark as this, but we'll be able to push and play with the contrast a little bit. Okay, so there's a little bit of dark here, and a little bit here. Looks like trees, though. I'm really happy. Okay, there's not a lot more going down that way. Okay, and we're making it on to the third canvas. This is our dark rock thing here with some other little rocks and stuff on the path. It's not quite as dark right in here. It's because the light's kind of coming through, and I can maybe enhance that even more. Actually, there's a light on the path right here. Whew, it's gonna be beautiful. Okay, so I don't have this tree yet, but I'm gonna work with the really dark leaves up above. I'm constantly remixing this color because I keep running out, but I have all my paints out and ready. But this is gonna come up here and kind of combine. I'm probably ruining my brush, but if it makes the effect I want, who cares? Okay, that's that tree. So I'm gonna just put a little bit more. It's basically a tree. I should maybe just draw it. This is dumb. There, it's right there. It's just it's pretty light in the background, but I wanted to put in some of these darks that seem to be like attached to it. This is the other really big tree, which I should maybe make a little bit thicker because it's thicker. Not as thick as this. This is the big one. It's a bit thinner than that, but I don't want to go too much bigger. Need a little bit of liquid on my brush with my paint to make it last a little bit longer. There, okay. And trees are usually a little bit thicker at the base, so I don't want to go too thick like in the middle or the top. And that's that one. There's technically another one that kind of comes down this way. And down. So a fun thing for me this weekend is I am going to Santa Fe, New Mexico with my family, and it is honestly probably my favorite place to go. It's only 6 hours from here, and so it's an easy drive, but it's so artsy. I love the aesthetic of the town and the feel, and I've got so many memories. Like I grew up taking lots of trips down there, and so we get to go, and I'm so thrilled. So I'll probably come back with lots of ideas, inspiration, photos, stuff like that. We'll see. I was thinking today that possibly I could do a YouTube video of some plein air painting that I'm bringing some gouache and stuff with me and watercolor and stuff like that. So it'll be pretty fun to do a little bit of painting while I'm there. So I'll come back with some ideas and hopefully some new painting thumbnails and such things. Okay, I can't see the whole picture. Again, we've reached a point where I've stretched it enough. Stretched it again. So like this spacing here, there's a lot more trees, obviously, but it's not quite so far, but that's okay. We're just going to block that in. So I don't know if you can see it, but there's the path right there. Big boulder. This is like, ground that's going to be sloping down. This is ground going up, all the trees, and you're going to have light, this backlit stuff in here, and it shines on the path. I'll probably make it hit some of these trees more intentionally. It's going to be awesome. This is just like, we're almost done with some of these foreground tree. Well, they're not completely foreground, but closer to the foreground than other spots. This is nice and dark all in here. Again, I'm not worried too much about how this looks right now. I'm trying to pay attention a little bit to the texture, but I'm not freaking out too much about like placement. Because as long as you get the gist of it looking like trees, that's all that matters. That's why I love Impressionism, because it can look very vividly realistic from far away. But like up close, it's just like messy strokes and things, but they're placed perfectly so that you just feel like you're seeing light and shadow and all that happening. It's the best, in my opinion. Sorry, I got a lot of action with the fire trucks on our street today for some reason. Ooh, I wonder if something is close by. Oh no, they're being respectful of the neighborhood. Okay, let's try. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to put just a little bit of a lighter color because back in here there's like forest that's like darker. And so I'm going to come in, you can kind of see it's sort of greenish. I'm just going to place in some of that color off in the distance just to be sort of a base for like where, because it's still a darker value back in there, but it's not like black. I mean, I'm not using black, but oh, it does get a little darker though. Oh, the other thing I like about Santa Fe is there's a lot of artists down there, and we go walk Canyon Road, which is a road full of, it's just gallery after gallery after gallery after gallery, and studios and things like that. And that's just the coolest thing because you walk into a gallery and you see different types of paintings, and it's just so inspiring. So I can't wait, if you can't tell, to go to Santa Fe, New Mexico. And we'll do a lot of walking. It's fairly, a safe place to go for COVID reasons because it's not like we're going to be doing a lot. Mostly walking outside. It's going to be pleasant weather, hopefully. It's going to be great. So I would recommend Santa Fe to artsy people out there. Even if you're not, it's a quaint place to go and visit and hang out, explore. We're going to do some hiking. Okay. Looks like a mess, but that's the idea right now because we're not worrying too much about detail. Oh, and technically, this spot down here, I'm going to have to let go of this guy. Can I do him that way? Can I lean him? Perfect. This foreground right here is pretty dark, so let me put that in real quick. Oh, we got some people responding. Carissa's doing some food prep. Yay. I'm glad I can keep you company. And we got Audrey. Hey, Audrey. Miss you guys. Yes, thank you. I'm excited to see what I bring back from Santa Fe as well. It'll be fun. I'm bringing, I actually have it right here. This is my little gouache set. I bought the container on Amazon and I filled it with my gouache colors. And then I bought, some reservoir brushes and a little sketchbook watercolor pad. And I'm going to be all set to take it on the road with me. So super fun. All right, let's just go into this dark stuff down in here. I am craving for a good old Colorado Rocky Mountain hike. Whoa. I better put this guy down. He almost hurt himself. What was I saying? A hike. Oh yeah, I want to go on a hike. Like September sometimes can be the most pleasantest time to hike. Because the weather is just calm and cooler, and breezier, and the colors are awesome. So it was a lot of fun stuff. So when we get back from Santa Fe, I'll have to get some friends together and try to go on a hike before it gets cold. You don't want it to be cold because that's not fun either, personally, for me. Okay, so this whole corner is blocked in. Again, I'm leaving enough orange so that I can go back, still show some of the orange, but then cover more of it later with some of the medium values that are going to be placed in there. Okay, well, let's assess what we did here. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We've got 7 people watching. 7 people have tuned in. So thank you. Thank you. I think maybe I need to change my routine to doing live streams more on a weekday evening so that you have the ability to tune in, because I know, Fridays over lunchtime isn't always convenient. So I'll have to think about that. But so this is the painting so far. Again, we've got our path here. This is the ground. This is the ground. We've got some trees coming up. We're going to have lots more trees in the distance, but we're going to have the sun coming through behind here, hitting those trees in the distance and then hitting the path. And I'm going to have it hit some of these trees here. It's just going to be kapow of light all the way across. It's going to be so fun. Like, I want to keep going, but it's 4 minutes to 8 and I have to go save my husband from the kid. So, I think my next step, which I probably won't get to this till my next live stream. So most likely, so you can hopefully tune in. Maybe I'll do Wednesday next week as well. And you can kind of see what the progress is of this piece. But I'm thinking that I probably want to work on the light next. Yeah, maybe. I might have to do there's some green, like the light's hitting. Yeah, I'll probably do the light in the background. And then I'll work on those sort of trees in the distance, trees coming forward that are a little bit lighter. And then leave this stuff for the end because it is still all pretty dark and you're just working on the background. But with a piece like this, like I can, when it's displayed, it can be displayed a few inches apart and it doesn't like ruin the composition. So that's the plan. I'm liking it. I'm pretty happy with. Don't whisper or don't blow or anything. Just whisper. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you found it inspiring and fun to watch, as much as it was fun for me to paint. But I will be stopping there now, and I will see you guys hopefully I'll try to do next Wednesday at the same time, 7 p.m., and maybe you can tune in, say hi, watch me make some more progress on this guy, or maybe I come back with just like, Santa Fe ideas coming out my ears, and I need to do something like that. So, yeah. Oh, Audrey, yes, thanks for the feedback. This is the first one you've been able to watch, and that's because it's a Wednesday night. So yes, thanks for that. I will probably do that. I definitely, because of baby, things have shifted in terms of when I can paint anyway. So Wednesday evenings might be better for me now. Anyway, usually my Fridays, like all day, were kind of like me trying to paint as much as I can on a Friday. I can still do that, but it's definitely been harder with baby. So hopefully an evening could work, and we can always go later all that. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for saying hi, and thanks for watching my painting progress. Here again is the one I did last week, which is kind of where I'm going to take this one eventually. And it started out just like this with the orange background, and I did the darks, but this is what this guy looks like. Thanks, Becky, for watching. Yay! I'm so glad you guys could tune in. But this is the newest, my favorite one. I did actually paint it for my bathroom. I'd have to say that the last painting I did for my bathroom, my sister really wanted, so she bought it for me. Can't complain, but I was like, well, darn it, now I have to make another one for my bathroom. Our bathroom upstairs here has dark, like aqua green, like tile in it. And so my husband Ryan was like, you got to paint some sort of river mountain scene. And I was able to come up with this, and he's pretty happy about it, and I'm pretty happy about it. So it's going to go in our bathroom. So sorry if you wanted it, but it's going to go in our bathroom. I'm going to find a frame for it, and we'll get it up on the wall in there. But yeah, well, that's what that looks like. You can see it on my Instagram page as well. And there it goes. It's okay. It's just a canvas. Ta-da! It's fine. Anyway, I will let you guys go. It's 8:01. I hope you guys had a great time watching, and we will see you next week. So I will definitely plan it for Wednesday evening again, since we get some more views and that you guys can kind of relax at home and watch me. So again, thank you for tuning in. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye.